today's class, that is Principles of Procurement and Distribution, Lesson 2. And today we're going to talk about the historical of public procurement. We can say the public procurement system in Kenya has grown from rudimentary stage during the colonial and post-colonial period to a vibrant regulated system that compares well with the international standard. It is divided into five stages. Number 1, it is the colonial period. Number 2, it is post-colonial period, that is between 1963 and 1978. And then the third era, it was between 1978 to 2001. Then we had the era of reform. It was between 2001 and 2010. And the final one, it was the constitution, the era of new constitution, that is past 2010. So let us start with the era, that is colonial era. To facilitate the process of procurement, the following structure were in place. We had the crown agent. This was the person who handled overseas purchases on behalf of the government. Its prominent role continued into 1970s. Number 2, have Central Tender Committee. Have they established? It was established in 1955 through a treasury circular by CTB, who was to handle all government tenders. And number 3, under colonial era, we had 1959 Procurement and Supplies Unit were established under the Ministry of Public Works to handle common use goods and services. In 1960, it was converted into Supplies Branch, which existed to date, but which with much reduced mandate. Number 2, we have post-colonial era. It was between 1963 and 1978. Our services continue as they were during the pre-colonial period or pre-independence period, whereby Crown agent organized procurement for the government up to 1970s. In 1974, I will have CBT was moved to Treasury from the Ministry of Public Works. In 1978, supply manuals was introduced and became the main guiding document in supplies matters. However, the document never unified procurement in the government. It further did not cover a cooperation in parastatals, and whereby the office of head of supply service was also established at this particular era of 1978. The Ministry of Public Works and the Office of the President had a free hand to public works. Between 1978 and 2001, the era of World Bank reform came into action, whereby that is in 1997, the World Bank conducted countrywide review on public procurement and reported the following weaknesses. Number 1, reduced effectiveness of public financial management. Number 2, government inability to deliver services effectively. Number 3, obscure rules not based on fair competition and transparency, rendering the system to abuse. And then number 4, no legal framework to enforce procurement rules. Then you had third, the era of public procurement reform. It was between 2001 and 2010. This golden era was major reform in public procurement, with far-reaching results, whereby it overseen some of the things. Number one, enactment of the exchequer and audit under Regulation 2001. Number two, CTB was abolished. Number three, Public Procurement Directorate was established. In number four, we had Public Procurement Appeals Boards were also established. And number four, had the chairman of the tender committee was to come from the private sector. Number six, the corporations and parastatals were for the first time subjected to the public procurement regulations, just as was the central government. And then lastly, each public procurement entity was to establish a procurement unit within it, and all purchasing and disposal processes were to be managed by the same unit. Number four, have Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015, that's 2005, which it became a regulation in 2006. The Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2005 was approved and gazetted in 2005. The Act had to wait for the approval of the Public Procurement and Disposal Regulations, which was done in 2006 by Minister of Finance, then Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, or Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, in order to operationalize the Act. The Act 205 came into operation in 2007. Henceforth, public procurement and disposal came under one legal regime. A public-private partnership. The government found that it did not have enough financial resources to carry out projects it deemed necessary to enhance economic growth. As a result, the above regulations was enacted to assist in mobilizing financial resources in the private sector to be used in public project under specific conditionality. Number five, have 2010 present day. The new Constitution 2010 has outlined principles of public procurement, such as fairness, equitability, transparency, competitiveness, and cost effectiveness. Whereby the Public Procurement and Disposal Preference and Reservation Regulation 2011. The regulation cover groups in regions that have been disadvantaged over time and cannot be able to compete favorably within more established firms, and hence must be given preference. These groups include small enterprises, micro enterprises, disadvantaged groups such as women, youths, and people with disability, have citizen contractors, local contractors, and citizen contractors in joint venture with foreign firms. I have Public Procurement and Disposal. That is County Government Regulations 2013. The Regulation 2013 focused on public procurement and disposal within a nearly established county government in Kenya. Then you have Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015, assented in 18th December 2015 and operationalized on 7th January 2016. Application of the Act applies to all state organs and public entities. Public entities include national government, county government, judicial, and the courts, commission established under Constitution, public schools, central bank, etc. So those are some of the things that you can be able to discuss about the evolution, whereby you have things or people excluded from the Act, conflicts with the other Act, and then challenges of the previous public procurement system that made it necessary